Yeah, just give me all of the respect. I use your reverence as a reward. They know that I got the power and they looking at me like the source. Take my throne, boy, stop that. I'm on my hill, can't top that. You take this L, yeah, rock that. You know, I never needed a cosign. Yeah, I'm gon' shine. I rock independent. Representing like I work for the Senate. You double LC, you ain't got no business coming against me. These haters,
What it do, Knicks Universe? What it do, Knicks Universe? What it do? KOD Nation, stand up. And all you degens, wake up and get your coffee. Welcome to this Friday, February 3rd edition of the Knicks Morning Brew. I'm chilling with the one and only, the fabulous Phil. Philip, good morning.
Good morning, bro. Yo, you know what's funny? It is sometimes, you don't really know if these shows are ever
Right.
like recorded when they're supposed to.
Right.
Watching you wipe the morning from your eyes every time you're doing an introduction just proves that it's the morning brew. You're like, oh, what up, Nick Nation? What up, Nick Nation?
First of all, you can't be giving these secrets away, bro. No one knew that that's what I was doing when I went. Like, no one knew that, bro. All right.
What else are you doing? Like,
I'm like you're like, that's what I'm doing, bro. Jesus Christ. But good morning, Philip. Thank you for pulling me on my spot this early in the morning. I appreciate that. The embarrassment is through the roof. Shout out to the chat. We got Eric Wallace in the building. E-Rod, what it do? We got the one and only TC Stills in the building. TC Stills, what it do? My man, of course, Jiggaman Porto is in the building. Jiggaman, we I apologize for us being 20 seconds late. We were just having a conversation and we just lost track of time. Sorry. Who else we got? Infamous King is in the building. What it do? Infamous new King. Delano Still Jr., the only troll in Knicks universe we love and respect. And of course, my man JJ's in the building. But Phil, how are you feeling? Is that fired? I apologize. My fault. Phil, how you feeling, bro?
Man, I'm feeling good. It's crazy. We talk about it all the time. Knicks fans, we're always on a roller coaster of emotions. And a lot of times, good things happen in bad situations and bad seasons, and you're trying to be happy and celebrate those things. But also like, it's one of those things that you don't want to ignore elephants that are still in the room, so like finding that perfect line for me of like fandom, like I'm always going to be a Knick fan. I'm always going to support my team, but as an actual fan of basketball, I'm always going to be honest and truthful. I'm never going to, just go off of my emotion either way, either on victories or on losses. Trying to find that fine balance of actual truth in what's being done with our Knicks. So I'm looking forward to today's episode because there's a lot of that. There's a lot of good to, focus on, but there's a lot of bad to also still point out. So being able to do both is what I love about this.
Yeah. The Knicks are 28-25. We're chasing the Miami Heat, who are 29-24. Last night's game, that's a game that we were not supposed to win, but we needed to win, right? Nobody was expecting us to win that game. Miami was favored by 2.5 points when you looked at the spread. But as a Knicks fan, having a win without Jalen Brunson against a team that were trailing in the standings when it comes to the Miami Heat, it's a recipe for success, right? Because going into the game, if you felt like the Knicks were going to win the game, you're being delusional. Let's just keep it 100%. You're being delusional. Once the game started and I saw Jalen Brunson was out, and definitely because there were some questions about it, but once I saw IQ was starting in front of Jalen Brunson because he's injured, I had thoughts that this team was going to lose the game, right? But we came out there punching, From the first quarter, we answered the bell. Miami got close towards the end. Yes, it was a little shaky in that last minute with both RJ and Julius Randle. I get that. My man, infamous New King, he said it's easy to ignore the elephant in the room until it drops a huge pile of poo-poo. And you can't disagree with that. And then this was why was Brunson out? Honestly, Jonathan, I've been trying to find that answer as well last night. But JJ in the chat, he said sickness. Sickness was the reason that Jalen Brunson was out. All right, cool. So hopefully it's not nothing severe. Hopefully it's just, a little bug that he has that he could bounce back from. Maybe he had a little Chipotle that didn't settle well with his stomach, so he needed a night off. So hopefully he bounced back in our next game. But Phil, what's your thoughts about the win before we dissect what we didn't like about last night's game?
Yeah. So the win was actually, to me, came from something we have talked about over and over and over again, and has been the focus of a lot of my good, bad, and uglies, is that typically we get destroyed because we are so ISO focused that there is no actual ball movement. And last night, like straight up, you ever have those moments where you kind of just like freeze for a second and be like, no, I didn't just see what I saw. Like that was me last night. There was an actual play where Randall got the ball underneath the basket, and it could have been an easy basket for Randall. Like he could have either, if the defense would have came, he could have muscled through. But he had the basket, right there. But he saw Grimes in the corner, and without hesitation, threw it out to Grimes for a perfect wide open 3-pointer. Like we moved the ball in a way that I've never seen us move the ball this season. Like, because we've seen it happen for like maybe one or two plays, and then we're just like, what the frick? If we did that more, we could actually win. And so seeing that last night, seeing actual ball movement was great to see. Seeing Grimes cutting off the basket, seeing Grimes being able to do 3-pointers, but also taking it to the hoop, seeing Obi Toppin be able to hit a 3, a layup, and a dunk, like showing what is in each person's bag last night was incredible, and I know you and I talked a little bit about this, like how does RJ Barrett score 30, points and have a redeeming second half and still get, crapped on by tons of Knicks fans? Like I watched some of those plays. The homie Jay Nicky posted it today, which was one of my favorite plays. Like where RJ was coming by and like did this like crazy little like out of nowhere
Jimmy, yeah.
Jimmy. Like that was one of the highlights for me. Like seeing RJ be able to play like RJ last night in that second half. Those are things I was happy to see in that victory last night. One thing you cannot deny is that there is something incredible about Bam Adebayo and the way that guy plays. Like incredible. The way he plays is just standout incredible. And that's the kind of thing that I'm like, okay, there are certain things that you watch and you go, man, that team's lucky, I haven't seen that fully yet, where I look at our team and I go, man, that guy is out of this world, I think a piece like that would be awesome. But maybe players are developing into that. We'll see. But I was at least happy to see the grind and the effort through 4 quarters of basketball. Like we could have completely lost it in the end. But we kept our defense even through that crazy play, towards the end. I'm just happy to see that for sure.
Last night's game, though, that's a team's win, right? Yes, RJ Barrett had 30 points. Yes, Julius Randle had a phenomenal game also, but it was a team win, a complete team win. We've spoke about how Quentin Grimes is probably the only person that moves around the court without the ball. Right, whenever the ball is in either Julius's hand or Jalen's hand or RJ's hand, the only person that's moving consistently without the ball is Quentin Grimes. Right, so last night's game, seeing Quentin Grimes getting more assertive on the offensive side of things, right, knocking down open 3-point shots that he was missing a couple of games ago, finding guys cutting like Isaiah Hartenstein late in the game in that fourth quarter for an easy basket instead of trying to force something up. Those are good basketball decisions, right? Those are decisions that early on in the season, us as a team, completely as a whole, weren't making. Right. So to see Quentin Grimes execute late as well, late in the fourth quarter, not even early in the game, late when in crunch time, shows that he's growing when it comes to basketball IQ. Now, RJ Barrett, like you said, RJ Barrett, that's the game you're supposed to have. After being benched in the fourth quarter, after being benched in overtime, after being benched the last 11 to 12 minutes of regulation, that's how you respond. 30
Yeah.
points. Yes, he got 23 shot ups, but he still got 30 points, some knocked down some three-pointers, right? But the one thing that I was impressed about was that 20 points in the second half were all down low
Yep.
against a team that's top 3 defense in the paint.
Yep.
So RJ Barrett is not just settling for that 3-pointer in the corner. No, and this is how RJ needs to attack. He needs to be aggressive like this, because that move he had against Jimmy Butler, I wasn't expecting it. Were you expecting it? Because I know I wasn't. When it happened, I dropped my phone because I was looking at the TV like, whoa, what was that? I had to try to rewind it, right? But
Yeah.
that was a move that years ago or within these past 3 seasons, nobody would expect out of RJ Barrett, right?
Yeah.
So to see RJ Barrett getting comfortable and feeling like he has a chip on his shoulder, because it really felt like he had a chip on his shoulder playing the last
Yeah.
night's game, especially what happened the game before, being benched, not wanting to talk to the media. This is how you respond, RJ Barrett. And going forward, I hope in the next game that we have, we get another 25 piece from RJ Barrett, because that's how you're supposed to respond. We've talked about it in the past, Phil. I'm not sure if you're frozen or if it's on my end. We've talked about it in the past, Phil, how RJ Barrett is able to have good games, have amazing games when he score 25 plus points or more, 30 plus points or more. But sometimes he responds the next game by scoring less than 20 or scoring less than 15. So we need to start seeing a more consistent version of RJ Barrett. Phil, you good? Oh, my fault. Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. There you go. I see
No,
you
you're
now.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing about RJ is at the end of the game, like we've said before, it's about 4 quarters of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Like I that's one thing so many people don't focus on is like, yes, he had a mediocre first half, but it's what you do after that mediocrity that matters most. He came back, and if he didn't have the quarter, the third and fourth quarter that he had, we were not winning that game. Bottom line,
Facts.
like we needed that. Like we needed him in that third and fourth quarter, and so I watched a few of the post game interviews. I didn't see the RJ one, which I'm bummed. I wish I did because I saw a tweet right before the show, so I didn't have enough time to read it. But Jay Nicky was talking about the his post game, and he said, "Did you watch the post game? He low key accidentally threw some grenades at Brunson. He said he hasn't got a chance to be that aggressive in a while, and he said that all worked together tonight. Definitely
Mm,
not intentional, but like he talked about, like he doesn't really get those opportunities, and it's true. Like when do you see Jalen Brunson? I mean, R.J. Barrett have a whole section to work with. With the three of them, it's like traffic on the highway. Like it's
mm.
insane. It's like watching LA traffic when it comes to the New York Knicks and our mid three. So I think that's something to look out for. Like a lot of people, and we've talked about it before. The mid three together individually, great, great stats, great like thoughts, but you do not see games out of all three guys like that. Like
Mm.
typically, so we saw some of RJ's best games were when Randall was out or Brunson was out last night. One of Randall's best games was when RJ was out. Like Brunson does better when not all three of them are on the court. So that's something for us to really pay attention to if we want to see like the thriving of those kind of players like we did RJ last night.
Is that more of a coaching? Is that a result of coaching, or is that a result of Jalen Brunson, do you think?
I definitely think it's a result of both.
Mm,
It's like one of those things that you ever seen like a there's a huge difference between an only child and a child that has siblings. Like the only child knows that they are that golden ticket, and
mm,
they kind of know that like no, mom and dad aren't gonna really get mad at me like that.
yeah.
Like then the parent has the second child, and it's like, "Ooh, I will whoop both of you right now," like because they've that, and so I feel like with Jalen Brunson and with Julius Randle, they both kind of feel like they should be only child status. Like we're not going to get disciplined. We're going to do no wrong, and so it causes that like self motivation mentality.
Oh, are you saying that RJ Barrett is the middle child when it comes to
Oh,
Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, and RJ? He is the middle
oh,
child.
hell yeah!
Is
He is
Julius
he is
is
the
the
redheaded
oldest?
stepchild. He's the redheaded adopted middle stepchild. Like,
JJ said, and imagine being a twin like myself. That's crazy. Can twins can one of the twins be a middle child? That's a question I want to ask, because if there's a child already born and then the parents they have a twin, can the
yeah,
older twin be the middle child?
yeah, yeah. By like
I
a minute,
I
you're
apologize for
stuck
this
in that
random
position by a
I
minute.
apologize for this
It's like,
random conversation at 11:17 in the morning. I apologize, guys. Infamous New King, he said RJ be pissing defenders off every time he finishes with that basic AF layup. They turn around looking disgusted, like I'll take it. Yeah. Yeah, I gotta agree. Jacob Petruzzi is in the chat. Jacob, salute, salute, salute. The reason why I asked you, Phil, was this a product of the head coach, was because last night, shout out to Kent the Haitian, but last night, my man Kent, he sent me a little not inside information, but he sent me a little info that's buzzing around the NBA when it comes to our coach Tom Thibodeau and how other players around the league feel about him. Phil, the reason
okay,
why I didn't share it with you and with Jigga was because I wanted your natural response to it, right? I wanted
okay,
an
okay,
authentic and an organic response from Philip Porto when it comes to it, right? But I'm gonna
all
play it
right,
right now. It's a
all right.
two-parter. Here's the first part right here. So the first part, this is a quote. Thibs will never change. Came across this quote from an article prior to his third and final season in Minnesota. It didn't make any sense, and it's no surprise Towns and Wiggins were unhappy. It was impossible not to notice the double standards in Minnesota. Thibodeau preached ball movement and unselfishness while letting Butler and Rose pound the ball into the ground and shoot contested jumpers whenever they felt like it. Sounds familiar. And while he constantly got on Towns and Wiggins about their defense, he never said a word about Crawford, arguably the worst defender in the NBA. I feel some type of way about Jamal Crawford, so please be nice. But Phil, what's your thoughts on this quote? I believe Stephen Bondi pulled this up from when Thibs was in Minnesota. It kind of sounds familiar.
Bro, it's hilarious. Like you could just substitute names and it all makes sense. So it didn't make any sense, and it's no surprise that Obi Toppin and Cam Reddish were unhappy. It is impossible not to notice the double standards in New York. Thibodeau preached ball movement and unselfish play while letting Brunson and Randall pound the ball into the ground and shoot. Like it's insane. Like you could just, and then you could go, and he never said a word about Evan Fournier, arguably the worst defender in the NBA. Like it's crazy. It's the exact same sentence, but you substitute the names. Like
Yeah.
it is insane to be able to like do that, and it makes sense. Like it is mind blowing. Like it just, I know all of our issues are coach like start from the coach, like they do, because last night proved that we have talented players on our team.
Yeah.
Like, and the offense that they played is not a Thibs offense at all. And it looked good. Like, it was It's just, yeah. Let's go to the next one if you got another one.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
still
because
curious.
this is just the beginning. It gets a little bit better as we go
All
on.
right.
But before we go on, shout out to SK the Smoking Nick is in the chat. My man, what it do, SK? Listen, guys, if you aren't subscribed to my man, the Smoking Nick, please go check out SK and the content that he put up. He's more of a late night, 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning type of person himself. That's a little bit too late for my blood. I be knocked out early. Phil can tell you because yesterday was a perfect example when they FaceTime me and I was knocked out. But let's go on to the rest of this, right? Because like you said, Phil, you could just substitute the names and it's the same story. But players were asked, which coach aside from your own would you not want to play for? 34.6% of the athletes, the NBA players who took this poll via the Athletic in 2019, they said Tom Thibodeau. 34.6% of NBA players said that they would not want to play for Tom Thibodeau. In second place was Jim Boylan with 21.1%. Now, again, this is via the Athletic and the 2019 NBA poll, so I'm not sure how players feel about him right now in 2023, but this is from 2019. From 2020, but the poll was from 2019. Not exactly surprising to hear those names, but ouch. This doesn't exactly inspire front offices to consider hiring Thibs if they knew. Thibs again. And you think even Garpax would take this into consideration before bringing back Boylan. One player was quoted as saying, and I quote him as saying, Thibodeau plays his guys so many minutes, one player said. They're playing like 40 effing minutes a game in the regular season. Like, why? I don't think that's how you're supposed to coach. I'm going to say that again. Thibodeau plays his guys so many minutes, one player said. They're playing like 40 effing minutes a game in the regular season. Like, why? I don't think that's how you're supposed to coach. Phil, the floor is yours.
Yo, it's absolutely nuts, bro. Like, 2019, fast forward 4 freaking years, same thing. The 40-minute thing. How many times are announcers, us content creators, Twitter spaces, everybody talking about this is not the playoffs? Why are you burning out your guys? Why are you making Randall and Brunson and Barrett and whatever play 40 to 43 minutes a game? Even in games where we are winning by significant numbers, they are still there in the fourth quarter, like getting exhausted and opening themselves up to possible injury. Like, it is just ridiculous. It is one of the worst coaching things I've ever seen in my life. Like, even when we were in freaking Bronx, New York, playing little pee-wee basketball, like before we knew anything really about basketball, the coach would be like, oh, they're huffing and puffing. We need a sub. Our guys can huff, puff, hands on their knees. It does not matter. They are playing until Thibodeau says they are not. And it is disgusting. Like, it's disgusting that it has not changed in the slightest.
You know what's even more disgusting than that? And I'm sorry to just lay on this poo-poo sandwich to your plate this early in the morning, but what's more disgusting than that, right? It's knowing that this poll was taken in 2019. This article came out in 2020. Who did the New York Knicks hire in 2020 as their head coach? Tom Thibodeau. That
is the craziest thing.
That means to tell me, right, Phil? That means to tell me that no one in the front office, when it comes to Leon Rose, when it comes to Scott Perry, when it comes to any of their assistants, no one showed them this article. No one did their due diligence when it came to asking what's the feeling around the league when it comes to Tom Thibodeau. You guys are supposed to be from CAA, right? He's supposed to be from CAA, right? So why didn't he use those CAA connections around the league to ask players how they feel about Tom Thibodeau before hiring Tom Thibodeau. Shout out my man Maine Royce is in the building. Jermaine, what it do? Kent, my man Kent, thank you so much, bro, because Kent sent me this last night. Right, I had to sit with it for a second, but I was like, I gotta play this on the show. Shout out my man Kent for sending me this information last night, bro.
Here's the thing, bro. Here's the thing. You say no one told you. I don't believe that. That's the scary thing. Is I know that they saw this article and they're like, that's the buddy. He'll be fine. Like he'll be fine. We're gonna bring him in anyway, because you look and it does not matter how much Dolan is in the media with a bad name. It does not matter how much Leon Rose gets roasted by us Knicks fans and Knicks content creators. Doesn't matter how much you walk into the Garden and outside at the freaking subway stations, there's Fire Thibodeau posters and Thibodeau as Bin Laden posters on the freaking subway, and they do not care. They do not listen. Like, the players themselves have said things. They do not care. So I don't think this is like lack of them seeing it. I think it's them not caring that they saw it. Like, because it's The Athletic. Like, if you were telling me this is like some podunk, like, local newspaper in Indiana that was like, who's a bad coach? I'd be like, yeah, they probably didn't see that. But it's The Athletic. You know, it's like, comparatively to like what, you know, Sports Illustrated used to be when we were younger. You know, it's what
it's a very credible source also, right? Phil, if you were to lay in front of me two articles, one from The Athletic or one from ESPN, who do you think who are you valuing more? The Athletic or ESPN articles?
I'm going with Athletic.
Thank you.
As a fan, because I know that it's going to be non-biased. It did not have to go through commercial channels to get approval, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, 100%. It doesn't have that.
What else you got?
It doesn't have that big corporation behind them that's called Disney, right? But before we continue, I'm putting a link in the chat just so everyone know. Hold on one second. The link I'm putting in the chat is for our new YouTube channel that will be coming out within the next couple of weeks called The Morning Brew Sports. Just to let everybody know, we're switching things up a little bit over here, right? The Yankees Morning Brew and the Knicks Morning Brew will be moving to the Morning Brew Sports. You're asking why and what does that mean? That means KOD Media is becoming the full sponsor of the Morning Brew. You know, they're giving us more opportunity to spread our wings, so we're not constructed within the time frame that we're given over here at the Knights of Dejan and KOD Media. By them being our full sponsor, it allows us to open up and have more shows in the afternoon and in the evening, post-game stuff, live watch-alongs and stuff like that. So don't think this is a bad thing or anything like that. No, we didn't get fired. We didn't get kicked off the channel. Nothing like that. What it is that we're given the opportunity to spread our wings. We're given the opportunity to be more independent. And if you guys can, sub to the new channel, The Morning Brew Sports. New video and new content will be coming out on that channel. We were able to get KOD Media from 300 subscribers all the way up to 1,300 subscribers. So hopefully you guys can help us do the same thing over there on the Morning Brew Sports. We appreciate all of you guys for showing all your love and all your support throughout the time that we have known each other, right? My man Kent always showing support. TC Stills, Jermaine Royster's in the building. My man SK the Smoking Nick, who he's not just a guest. He's a staple of the open panel. And like SK said, shout out our man Julius Randle for being a two-time All-Star, right? The conversation we're having has nothing to do about Julius Randle. It's more to do with Tom Thibodeau. But shout out to Juju for becoming a two-time All-Star. His second time in the 4 years that he's been here as a Knick, right? This is the first time since Carmelo Anthony that we had a Knick be voted to the All-Star game in multiple seasons. So shout out to Julius Randle and that accomplishment as well. If anyone deserves it, definitely him. I'm sad to see Jalen Brunson not there. If you guys saw the post-game interview with Julius Randle, he said he wished Jalen Brunson was there with him. But hey, we got one Knick there, Phil. Hopefully next season we can get two of them.
Yep, for sure. And yes, shout out to him. You know, they were talking about it last night. There's only two other Knicks players who have been back-to-back kind of all-stars like that. And one of them was Carmelo, and the other one was Allen Houston. You know, so that's good company for sure. That's good company.
Yeah, definitely. Before we continue, he was just backstage. Our friend Eddie will be joining us for this conversation, just to go back and forth. So when Eddie comes backstage, we'll bring him up. But before we bring him up, I got to throw that Doug clip out there, that Fire Thibs, because I think it's the perfect song, right? So while we wait for Eddie, let me play this Doug clip, right?
Reddish steps 440, you serious cause of size. Appearance and language is your plan is built on lies. The only path to mix existence is to conquer your demise. Fire Thibs! Burn the past like Fire Thibs! It's the last night Fire Thibs! From the covers the modern baby and make you obsolete. You are obsolete.
Eddie, what it do? Listen, that song hypes, like, that song really makes me want to kick a baby in the chest. Like, that song gets you off of your feet. Yeah, Phil. Sorry about
All right, real quick, just so you know, the Morning Brew Sports does not encourage kicking babies.
Yes.
First of all, I kick a baby if I want to. All right, straight Spartan kick the baby in the chest. Okay, how about that? We're moving around. It's like the Price is Right. We're moving around. But
What up,
Eddie, my man, what it do? Good morning, baby.
Good morning, fellas. What's going on?
I'm good, bro. I see you got your sweatsuit looking like an Italian from Bensonhurst. I see you, baby.
Yeah,
I see you.
This is my old school Knicks outfit, like from 2002. You know.
Nah, fire.
Love
Nice.
it. All right. So one thing you were talking about. All right, perfect transition to something that I really wanted to talk about. You played that Fire Thibs thing, okay? So we got Smoking Nick in here. He's a big Julius Randle fan, like the biggest one I've ever met. Applaud him. You know, he's in the All-Star game for him. But one thing he said in that post-game interview made me go, dang, Jew, we need you to step up. So in that post-game interview, when he's talking about, you know, where he's at and how he got there, it wasn't Tom Thibodeau doing anything that got him there. Who does he talk about? He talks about Johnny Bryant. And how in the offseason, Johnny Bryant flew to him. Okay, 9 times out of 10, when you hear these stories of like a player and a coach coming out, or you watch these movies, it's usually the head coach or the most influential person on that bench that does it. So Johnny Bryant flies out, changes his approach, helps him recognize his ego, and he asks him, if you were your teammate, okay, and you saw a player that handled things the way that you did, that showed the body language you did last season, that threw the tantrums you did, showed the frustrations you did, would you want to be that person's teammate? And Julius Randle was like, I had to answer honestly and say, no, I wouldn't. And it was that and his encouragement for me to stop being so self-focused and to think about the team that changed how I'm playing this season. So we have a guy who is not Thibodeau on the bench that the players are saying, this is the guy that impacted me. I need Julius Randle to not, at the end of that interview, and he was like, oh, and the staff, and Thibs, and Dolan. No. Stop with the sugarcoating about who you need to thank, and thank the person you need to, and give him all the recognition, because that'll help us in our get Thibs out of here. Because if Johnny Bryant is the one that's making the impact on these players, then it should be Johnny Bryant that should be our head coach right now. Like, I don't care if we lose more games, if that's the guy that's actually making impact and seeing the possibility of what Randall could be, seeing what Brunson could be, seeing what Obi could be, that's the guy that I want in that seat, not the guy that's always having excuses for himself. Everyone else is taking responsibility now. Why can't he take responsibility and take the heat that he deserves? So that's one thing I wanted to talk about is, like, how do you guys feel about that post-game interview And are things like those little comments and what RJ said the other day and what's coming out about Cam, like, shouldn't we hope that our players wouldn't make us dig for this information, but like put it out there so that we can actually get somewhere?
Yeah, I thought Eddie, go ahead, bro. Handle that.
Listen, man. We all on the fire Thibs train. We all want that. But like when you hear an interview like that yesterday, and you hear one of the most important players on your franchise go out and say, Johnny Bryant made me better. Johnny Bryant made me realize I have to be a better teammate, a better person, and grow. And Johnny Bryant's the reason why I'm having such a good season. It's a big deal. There's no credit given to Tom Thibodeau. It was given to Johnny Bryant. And when you hear this and you see all this dysfunction on the team, you think to yourself, what are the Knicks doing here? Why are they continuing to go with Tom Thibodeau? I don't get it. But again, I think it just goes back to James Dolan and his loyalty to Tom Thibodeau and Leon Rose. I think that's where it all lies and it all stems from.
Yeah. And before Jigga go, I just want to have you guys have the context of the conversation that we are having. Right. This was an article that was pulled out. Thank you again to Kent for sending it to me. But it's to talk about Tom Thibodeau. Right. It came across this quote from an article prior. Ooh, what just happened?
No, you there?
You good?
Tip came across this quote from an article prior to his third and final season in Minnesota. It didn't make any sense, and it's no surprise Towns and Wiggins were unhappy. It was impossible not to notice the double standards in Minnesota. Thibodeau preached ball movement and unselfishness while letting Butler and Rose pound the ball into the ground and shoot contested jumpers whenever they felt like it. And while he's constantly got on Towns and Wiggins about their defense, he never said a word about Crawford, arguably the worst defender in the league. And as it goes on, hold on one second, it brings up this great point, right? When it came to a poll that was done from NBA players. Oh, whoa. Where's this at? My fault. Sorry about that. I don't know. Jiggaman, can you help me out? You need to help me out. I don't know what's going on. There it is. My apologies. This was a 2019 athletic poll, right? That it polled players. 34.6% of the NBA players said that they would not want to play for Tom Thibodeau. 34.6%. This was in 2019, that poll that was done. This article came out in 2020, right? Eddie and Jigga, we hired Tom Thibodeau in 2020, which means no one did the groundwork you're supposed to do or did any research into seeing, you know what? We're from CAA. Let's ask players around the league how they feel about Tom Thibodeau before we hire this man as the head coach. Jigga, I'll throw it to you. I apologize. Good morning. I miss you.
What up, bro? First of all, I love when you go on your rants, bro. And I love when Phil goes on his Fire Thibs rants, right? Because both of you do it where I can sit back and relax and save my breath, right? Because you guys obviously are okay with wasting time in your life talking about let's fire Thibs when we know it ain't happening, right? And the fact that you said you think they would have done some research before they brought Thibs over. You know what fan base we're a part of, right?
Yeah.
I mean, why do we keep telling ourselves the front office is going to do something different or something that we want? But let's take a step back because we all know we harp on Thibs. We have our issues and we all want Thibs gone. Okay. Did he serve his purpose when he first got here? I still agree and say he did. Yeah. So we can't sit here and say that he didn't serve a purpose. The point is, just like anything, when you test something out, that's the whole point of having a test, right? Is if it's not working anymore, you get rid of that right? The problem is we see it doesn't work and we still keep them, right? So that's the issue. But I want to pull this up. First, shout out to Bones, always showing love to our channel. And it looks like it's his birthday today. Our guy said, thank you, God, for blessing
birthday,
me
baby.
with another beautiful day on this earth. God, you know I don't ask for much, but if you can please help get rid of at least one of these out of New York City, it would make me thousands of people happy. Thank you in advance. You know it's bad when your birthday wish is please for my birthday get rid of somebody from this front office or Thibs. Guys, I'm never going to get off the let's fire Thibs train, right? But I've said it before on our show. I'm not a fire the guy in the middle of the season kind of thing. If you don't have a backup plan in place, you let it ride out. We finish out the year. We know what we have. We're starting to see the pieces. Boogie in the chat. The closer showing up early. What up, Boog?
Boog, what it do?
Guys, I say let's fire Thibs. That'll never change. But the more and more stuff that comes out, Phil, you said, why would you say positive things? I feel like there's so much negative out there and it still doesn't matter, right? You're still getting the front office that praises Thibs, right? So it's like, even if the players did come out and be like, yo, Thibs is trash, I feel like some of them still like, man, I can't say that because they know what happens. They're like, man, I don't want to be that he who we do not speak of. Man, I don't want to be Obi Toppin, right? I don't want to get on the wrong side of Thibs and find myself on the bench when I actually do something good in 2 minutes, right? Yeah. So it's crazy, man.
But that's the thing is like, we talk about so much how Dolan is first and foremost a businessman, and regardless of friendships, his money's the biggest thing. Like, he's not in it for sports. Like, he's not. Like, he talked about he has no intentions to sell. He wants to give this to his family. Like, it's going to be a cancerous event for years. So what would make him hurt is seeing his business start to fail. And that's the thing is like, how much are we all willing to do? Like, if players start to speak up and it starts to affect the actual franchise, then that gets his attention. Like, so far, yes, we kind of have somewhat of a voice, but they can also silence our voice, they just can't, like they can do enough things. And that's why, as happy as I am for Randall, I was conflicted knowing that he was going to be named an all-star because so many people think that he's a product of Thibodeau that I was like, man, if he gets in, this is just going to be another
But
thing.
Do people really think he's a product of Thibodeau or just a favorite of Thibodeau?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I think he's a favorite of Thibodeau.
Yeah, I agree.
We all, like, yes and no. We all who are engulfed in this see it. But if you go into, like, Facebook groups, if you go into just, like, the person that's just an average fan that just watches the game when it comes up and they're drinking a beer with the buddies in the living room and they're not really, like, engulfed in actual Knick fandom, they're all just like, you guys got to get off this coach. Look, we have an all-star. Look, we have a winning record. Look, we went through this. We went through that. So, like, my whole thing is if players start to be a voice as well, like last night to me, that was a redeeming post-game interview because it wasn't, hey, I'm an all-star. Thibs came out to my thing, and this is what made it. Johnny Bryant got all the credit, Yeah. So when I think about, like, well, we already know what works, we do. Last night showed us what works, and it's Johnny Bryant. That's why I'm just like, it wouldn't be as detrimental to get rid of him in the middle of the season and ruin what we have because the people that are getting credit for it are those. And the things that you're hearing about Thibodeau in post-game interviews are such things as Cam Reddish voiced that he wasn't pleased with how he was being played, and so Thibodeau no longer wanted to play. Those are the things that Thibodeau's getting check marks for. So Johnny Bryant getting a check mark for the all-star like that Julius Randle has become, that made me extremely ecstatic last night.
I love what Sunil said in the chat. Sunil said, Dolan is the Knicks version of the former owners of the New York Mets, the Wilpons, a.k.a. the Groupons. Shoot, if anybody knows about Mets pain,
it's Eddie.
It's
Eddie. It's 100% Eddie. He's like, don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Don't get me started on the Wilpons. I don't want to go there. I had 20 years of that garbage, please. I don't even want to go there, but Dolan's better than the Wilpons because at least Dolan will spend money. The problem with Dolan is he's too loyal to these guys. As he said on WFAN in the interview, I sit back and I just listen. I'm just like thinking to myself, you're the boss. If you see something's not right, step down, take care of it. Like, that's what we need from James Dolan at this point. You see this product is not working. You see the front office and the coach are not on the same page. You see all this happening. You see this dysfunction. Now you see Johnny Bryant getting, praise from your franchise player. This is the time now to step down and take some action. This is what we need from Dolan.
Eddie, it makes you wonder, though, when he says words like, I sit back and listen. To who?
To who?
To who? Because it sounds like you tell yourself you're listening, but if you're surrounding yourself with the same group of idiots time and time again, all you're doing is filling your head with stupidity. Exactly. So maybe get yourself a new focus group, okay? Hey, I've got a group of 4 people right now. Matter of fact, I've got a group of 24 people right here in the chat with us that are more than happy to sit there and say, hey, we've got some ideas. We've got some answers.
The issue with Dolan, and this is something that he's never done when it comes to getting a new regime in charge of running the team, whether it's the president or the GM or whatever, what Dolan has never done, you're supposed to, if you're going to hire a new regime to run the team, you're supposed to fire everyone else. Scorch earth, get rid of everyone else that was a part of those regimes. You can't say, oh, well, you know, I'm going to get rid of this regime, but I'm going to put a guy in charge that I've known for years and years and years, that's been a part of the team as well for years. No, what are you doing?
Yeah,
like, no, just get rid of them. Just start from scratch.
Scott Perry, Allen Houston, all these guys. Get rid of these. These guys been here for way too long. I know they're company men, but listen, when you change, you're exactly right. When you change your team, you got to clean house, get rid of all these dudes, and bring in a real president of basketball operations. That's what they need. They need to get somebody like, Bobby Webster. He's the GM of Toronto. Bob Myers. He's the head of, Golden State. This is the dude that's running Golden State. He's, drafted all these guys. Klay Thompson, Curry, bought it, made the trade for KD. The Knicks need a real basketball guy to come in and just take over and change the culture, change the whole landscape. It's so simple. It's what Mike Zarin's another guy. He's from Boston. He was Danny Ainge's lieutenant for 15 years. If anybody knows how to make a trade, it's, Danny Ainge. If you can't have Danny Ainge, the second best guy is Mike Zarin. He's up in Boston. He's their GM. You can bring him in and give him a promotion. He could be the president of basketball operations. Clean the whole house. Start over, man. Because they don't never make any big moves, and that's the problem. I have no faith in these people.
When you look at the Knicks, there's this one name, right, that we literally just fired to hire Leon Rose. Steve Mills. Steve Mills has been a torturous pain in my life ever since I was in high school. He's been with this team. He was Isaiah Thomas's assistant. So what happens when the Knicks finally become competent, when the NBA steps in and says, no, you're going to hire this guy that we're going to put in charge, have him run the team for a couple of years, Donnie Walsh. What did we do? All right, we let Donnie Walsh run the team for 2 years, fired him, and then who did we hire? Steve Mills. What was Steve Mills' first move that he made as the president of the Knicks? Trading for Andrea Bargnani.
Oh, God.
If he didn't get fired after trading for Andrea Skupadaskis Bargnani, why would he been given? Why?
It makes no sense.
Jigga, you're muted. I'm sorry if that history.
I'd like to remind everybody in the chat, yes, we did win last night, and yes, we are happy. Yes, this is what happy looks like. Yes, we just want to point that out. Yes, we are happy about the win last night. But guys, as you were sitting there talking about it while you were saying your thing, Eddie, like what came across my mind was we keep asking ourselves what we think is such an easy question, like what is this front office doing? Right? You would think that's such an easy question, but I didn't even think about the fact that I'm going to say his name, which I know the rule has been I won't say his name, but the trade deadline is coming up and he will no longer be here. Cam Reddish. Because I said his name. But here's what I was going to say. Yeah, exactly. It hurt me to say his name out loud. If they allowed that coach to do what he did with Cam after they pulled the trades to bring him here, how can we expect this front office to even get rid of Tom? If that man can sit here and say, yo, I don't care what you say, I'm not playing your pieces, then he has a lot more power than we really realize, guys. So, again, it brings me back to the point of I feel like we're beating a dead horse that is literally pointless because he's not going anywhere.
That's the problem.
Going back to the Reddish point, I'll throw it over to Phil because Ian Begley, and shout out to Ian Begley for the work that he does, tremendous work. But on his mailbag show, he brought up something that I don't think a lot of Knicks fans know when it comes to this Tom Thibodeau and Cam Reddish situation. But Ian Begley brought up the point that apparently Cam Reddish went to one of the assistant coaches. Now, which assistant coach, we don't know. But apparently Cam Reddish went to one of the assistant coaches to complain about his playing time and ask what's going on with my playing time. Ever since then, Cam Reddish has not seen the court. I'm not sure if Tom Thibodeau felt some type of way because Cam went to either Johnny Bryant or Daske, one of the assistant coaches, instead of coming to him. But Phil, what's your take on that situation with the whole rumors when it comes to Reddish and Thibs?
My take on that, bro, is this whole dictator bull crap that is Thibs is disgusting.
He's
like,
an authoritarian. He's an authoritarian.
He's a piece of trash. Like, bottom line, the fact that you can like dedicate your time, your effort, your hard work, your life to a team, and you can't even voice how you really feel in situations like that. What kind of organization is that? Like, I was running a team of 7, and the biggest pet peeve for me was that I had an open door policy. If anyone had any frustrations, I wanted to make that change. So if I heard anything, I was just like, I wasn't mad. I would be like, guys, I want to be the one to know that because I don't want you feeling that way. The fact that this guy cracks down because people are feeling certain ways and he's made it to a point where they don't feel like they can open up to him, like there's no actual leeway for them to share and be honest, is disgusting. And the fact is in anything, if you're going to make a decision, have the cojones to back that decision, okay? To back what you've done. The fact that in his post-game interviews where people are like, hey, we heard that this is what happened with Cam Reddish. Like, we're getting it from very valid sources. Don't try to tiptoe around it. And him go, I don't even know where that came from because me and Cam are good. We're cool. Me and Cam are cool. Like, no, you're not. Like, this guy is disgruntled every time the camera cuts to him on the bench. You and him are not cool. Like, he's not going to be able to make good money in a next contract and provide for his family because you guys are not cool. Like, so that whole thing disgusts me, and it just is more of a fuel to the fire for me to say, get him the frick out of here. Like, he's ruining the careers of young players, and it's disgusting. If you're going to make a decision, have the cojones to back that decision. Don't talk trash and then net back it up.
Facts, bro.
Eddie, you're muted, Bubba.
It's not just even Cam Reddish. I mean, this front office brought in Evan Fournier. He doesn't play him either. And Derrick Rose. I mean, these are 3 huge pieces the front office provided him. And now Thibs just refuses to play these guys. And he's playing with their money now at this point. Yep. These guys, Derrick Rose isn't getting $14 million next year. That's a fact. Evan Fournier is never going to see anything close to what the $18 million he's got now. He is messing with these guys' money. And Cam Reddish is another guy. And now the problem is that there's this disconnect. All these players aren't going to get paid. And think about what that does to if you're a player, you're a free agent coming here. You're going to say, do I really want to go here and get planted on the bench and not get paid in my next contract after that, especially to a young player? So that's a big, big problem for this organization. Yeah. It's a problem, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this, though, off topic for a second. I feel like we're doing people in the chat a disservice when Phil throws out, words like cojones, and people are like, what does that mean? So I feel like maybe we should have like a ticker. It's like, oh, the word of the day, cojones, definition, slang, testicles, right? So we'll start putting that. What do you think? We start doing like this.
I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. A little ESL here on the Knicks Morning Brew. English as a second language. I'm 100% cool with that.
Jigga's trying to pull up pictures whenever not the one to pull up a picture for.
I was like, let me not do a search on that one, all right? But that one. I figured we'll pull this one up from the comments because Phil loves whenever anybody mentions the unicorn. So I do give Knicks fans credit for their takes on Kristaps Porzingis. He really was a unicorn in all aspects. Watching him play for my Dallas Mavs was like watching a 7'3" Carl Pavard.
That's a good one. That's a good comparison. That's a good one. But listen, this situation, it's crazy because we're over 500, right? If the season ends today, we're in the playoffs, right? Which we beat the team that we're chasing in the standings when it comes to the Miami Heat, and we beat them without arguably our second, if not number one, best player on our team, and that's Jalen Brunson, right? So we did. Now people are gonna say, oh, Julius Randle, cool, Julius Randle, whatever. But we beat that team without Jalen Brunson, without a big piece of this team, right? And one thing I can say, credit to the Miami Heat. This is what culture looks like. This is what a front office look like. The Miami Heat on their roster, I think they brought it up during the broadcast. They have 10 players on their roster out of 15 players that were undrafted free agent signings that are contributing to their team.
Mm-hmm.
It goes back to the oldest person in the NBA, which is Udonis Haslem, but they had 10 players. They have 10 players on their roster that wasn't drafted, that were undrafted free agents that are contributing to their team. Half of those names, I've never seen them before. Eddie, I know you deep into NBA and knowing of practically every player on every team, but I was surprised half those players on the Miami Heat, because watching the game in the first quarter, I was like, who is that? Who is this person? Who is that person? Because I don't watch Miami Heat game, right? I'm not that invested in the entire league like you are, Eddie, but talk about Miami for a second if you can.
Well, I mean, when you look at the Miami Heat, you just look at, like you said, it's a team that's a culture team. It's a team that's built through great trades, great signings, all these guys. And it all goes with the Miami Heat. It all goes back to Pat Riley. This guy came in there, 30 years ago after he left the Knicks, and he changed everything. He structures these contracts the right way. He stole Jimmy Butler from, Philadelphia. He stole, all these guys. You look at Bam Adebayo, for instance. This guy, was drafted in a certain way. He wasn't the number one center in that draft. And it turns out he drafted Bam Adebayo, over, I think it was Whiteside at the time. And look at the development. Look at the growth in this guy's game. Adebayo's an all-star now. If you guys watched the game last night, you guys watched probably one of the best mid-range games in the NBA. It's Adebayo and DeMar DeRozan, two of the best guys. Those are the two, to me, the guys with the two best mid-range games in the NBA. Mm-hmm. And you watch Adebayo torch the Knicks last night from the mid-range. He was just, throwing that floater over Julius Randle, over Hartenstein, and he was making efficient baskets. And I didn't realize how good this guy was, because he's taken steps and he's gotten so much better.
He improved himself. He improved himself, worked on his game. If I'm not mistaken, Phil, I thought you, but did I see a few like sky hooks?
Yeah.
Right? You saw that, right, Eddie? Cool. I'm not the only one that was bugging out, because one thing I saw the interview with Kareem, he was talking about LeBron passing the scoring title, and one thing Kareem said, he's like, I don't know why guys don't utilize that sky hook. He's like, in today's NBA, he was like, if you utilize that sky hook, your points will go up probably an extra 10 points per game. He's like, because no one's expecting that. No one's thinking that's going to come.
Well, coaches don't like going, doing post-ups, because, it's a three and it's, a layup. Yeah. Coaches want to get a layup or a three-pointer. That's, the end goal. But if you can learn to, hit the mid-range game, hit the post hard, you're going to make a lot of big field goals. Your percentages are going to be up. If you can tackle that aspect of the game, your team's going to be well, because teams aren't prepared for that. Every team wants to hit a three. True. Every team wants to throw a lob. If you could do a mid-range, get a mid-range field goal, get one of those sky hooks. Your team, that's another aspect in an area of your game where you could score, and it's really good.
Yeah.
Tyronn Lue uses that.
The thing about Bam Adebayo that I love is so many people think like the 90s era type of center is obsolete. And it's not. It's just that there aren't many that are actually good anymore. Like, you have players that have a certain aspect that are good. Like, Mitch can block really well, but Mitch is horrible offensively unless he's getting something thrown into him. And his footwork is a little bit sloppy. Looks like that movie Luca, when he first comes out of the water and he's trying to learn how to walk because he's had mermaid feet his whole life. Like, that's how Mitch looks a lot of times. Or they have, good offense but horrible defense. Bam Adebayo is like today's NBA's Hakeem Olajuwon, with the skyhook, the defense, the able to dunk, the able to do a fadeaway jumper. Like, you don't see that in many players right now. And the problem with the Heat, and I think the reason they're suffering, is because they banked on players that like maybe were a little bit towards the end of their career. When guys like Bam Adebayo are in their prime, like Bam and Tyler are a great combo because he can go in, Tyler can go out if he needs to throw it out. But guys like Kyle Lowry, they're a little bit drained now. They're no longer the Kyle Lowry that they first were when they first signed for him. You know, even Jimmy looked like a shell of himself last night.
Yep.
You know, so I think that regime is going to have to make some changes and let some of these older guys go and bring in some new talent. But they're building the right way because Tyler has what they need for a team that has a great like center presence offensively and defensively. They don't need someone to clog up the paint with him. They need people that he can ditch out to. So I love Bam. Bam is the kind of player that I'd be like, yes, trade for him right now. You want this, and this? Cool. Like, I will, as a content creator, won't get paid. I will fly to Miami. I will pack his bags. I will escort him on the plane. I will give him my alcohol. Whatever needs to happen, I will do that free of charge. But, you know, you got guys like Pat Riley that see vision a lot more than our coach and our organization and our management. So they're able to see things that other people might not have saw from the get-go in Bam Adebayo.
Yeah. Before we continue, we got somebody backstage I want to bring up. A special guest. He's a friend of mine. He's a friend of yours. The one and only Uncle Jay Boogie is in the building. Boogie, what it do?
Yo, blessings, health, and happiness to everybody, man. Happy Friday, man. Enjoy yourself, live yourself, you know what I'm saying? Be the best you. Don't try to be nobody else, man. Shout out to the greatest people it is in the world that belongs to the ones in the chat. Ain't no other person I would rather switch out would be to be unless it's somebody that's in the chat, man. Hope everybody in the greatest form of health or life. I hope everybody that whatever you're going through, we pray that you don't not only go through it, we hope that you get to it, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the team. Big time win last night, man. You know what I'm saying? I needed that. I appreciate that. Thank you to the New York Knicks, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't know Brunson won't go and play, you know what I'm saying? But real conversation, we don't care about you, Miami. You in the way. You know what I'm saying? When you come from the basement, like we in the basement, we in the middle of the pack. We trying to get rid of the pack. You in the middle, right there in front of us, right above us. I need to get you out the way and then start knocking on the door of Cleveland. So you can't get to Milwaukee. You can't get to Philly. You can't get to to Boston. You can't get to Brooklyn even though they ain't got KD. You can't get to the Philadelphia 76ers until you clear out from the basement, until you clear out the middle of the pack. There's the steps and levels to this thing that we got to do right here, right now. And we're making the proper steps right now to do what we got to do. Any given night, we can beat any given team. Any given night, we know we can lose to any team, but I don't want to just beat any team just for one game. I want to beat that same team 4 times in a series. I don't care. I want to win playoff series. So that's where I'm at. Shout out to Julius Randle. Double it up. All-star. 2-time. I'm going to Utah. Double that up. You can't hate on that situation. And for the fact, we all know that Brunson should be in that All-Star game. But so what? You're not there. What you going to do about it? You're going to turn your game up? You're going to go see the players that's in front of you that made the All-Star game when you see them? How you going to look at them for the rest of the season? I hope that lights a fire up on you and want to go ahead and lift you up and make you take your game even further. Because we know in our hearts that you're an All-Star, but they didn't want to put you in as an All-Star. But that's okay, you know what I'm saying? Keep doing what you're doing, man. You know what I'm saying? Come on back from your little illness and let's handle our business. I'll be in the building tomorrow. I'm coming to see the Clippers. Everybody know John Wall is my people. He's not suiting up, but I was looking to go get a jersey and bring that back so anybody, you know, I'm all day Nick. Don't think those are my people. And I'll be in the game on Sunday too. PJ Tucker, that's my people too, you know what I'm saying? But it's time to turn up, you know what I'm saying? The city is on fire, man. You got to appreciate love, you know what I'm saying? Julius Randle being the All-Star, that's our player. Not once, but twice as a New York Knick. He's had put on that All-Star uniform, you know what I'm saying? So when he go, guess what? We go. The podcasters go. The chats go. The organization go. His family go, you know what I'm saying? We all go, and that's in that orange and blue. So you got to appreciate that man making that All-Star team because he deserved it, you know what I'm saying? The man averaged the most double doubles in the Eastern Conference, and I'm gonna say it to Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, all them type guys, MB, all he takes no games off. He's there every game. And how many minutes you want me to play tonight? All of them, I'll play it. You know what I'm saying? I'm an engine. I'm lit. I'm on fire. I ain't trying to come out the game, man. No days off, no games off, no practice off. I'm here to face the music each and every day, you know what I'm saying? I know I could be a knucklehead sometime, but you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make things right. I'm trying to get right back on board. I need to let y'all know I made a mistake. I love y'all, New York. I need y'all to love me back. I'm here, and I got the city on my back, and we're doing things. Salute, 3 cap S's. I just want to come set some fire, you know what I'm saying? See if I can get Jiggaman jump out the window with a parachute, you know what I'm saying?
Let's go, bro. I was about to this. Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go.
Jiggaman, J Boogie, he has a unique ability to make you want to get up and run through a wall at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. 100% J Boog.
Listen, I'm not gonna say I may or may not just kick my cat across the room halfway through that. I was like, yeah. I was like, oh,
and guess what? When you go through that wall, guess what the referee gonna call? It's a blocking foul. You was not there.
He kind of made me like Randall a little bit too.
Eddie, you saw that? Yeah, you saw. I kind of, I'm about to DM him. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry.
J Boogie's the kind of guy that you should just like, if your marriage is going down the hill, don't find a marriage counselor. Just have J Boogie talk about each other. Seriously. And you'll fall in love. It's like Randall haters are just like, Randall jersey right now, like on Knicks.com. Like,
I'll keep it all the way 100 with y'all, though, man. That's a developing skill, man, that I wish nobody had to ever develop. You know, I developed them skills, you know what I'm saying, doing my incarceration, doing fair time, you know what I'm saying. When you get on that phone, you get on that jack, you know what I'm saying? You only got a few minutes to get your point across to say what you need to say, you know what I'm saying? And you want to, before you hang up the phone, you want to also make sure you save minutes before emergencies or whatever. So when I used to get on that phone, I used to always, have to, speak quick, fast, and hurry up to get my point across and let it be known what I need to be done. So that's why I talk like I do with the delivery, you know what I'm saying, right now, but I wish nobody to ever, develop that type skill. I wish everybody stay on the outside of the fences, outside of the bricks. You ain't got to go, you know what I'm saying, and face the judges. You ain't got to call no lawyers for your charges and none of that. You don't make the wrong moves that'll lead you to have to go into doing those type things, you know what I'm saying? To stay free, man. Everybody need to stay free, man. Stay here. You're much better on the outside. You look prettier being with your family, you know what I'm saying? That's a sickening thing, you know what I'm saying? Even though we all make mistakes, you know what I'm saying? We got to correct them, you know what I'm saying? So I know a lot of us, and I was one of them that made a mistake, man. But anything that you can do to not lead yourself inside the incarceration, please take time out to think and make sure you stay on the right path. And when you get on the right path, do everything you can do to stay on that path. Those are two different scenarios. Doing the right thing and continue on doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to share that real quick.
Nah, that's deep, J Boog. You always, put out that motivation out there. And that's the thing. I done called J Boogie a few times over the years that I've known him when I'm going through it. Just like Jigga said, J Boogie's that person to call. And the work that you do in the community, J Boogie, I don't got to speak on it because it's proof itself. The amount of people that run up to you during the street when you're in New York City telling you how much and it's true because you mean a lot to us, J Boog, and you put a lot of work in there. But when we're talking about this team, Boog, it was a great win last night. Everything you said was phenomenal. Julius Randle being an all-star and everything like that. But I brought up this article, and I'm not sure if you was here for it, but I'm gonna just show you the poll. There was a poll that was taken back in 2019 across the league. They asked anonymously NBA players, and they asked these NBA players, which coach besides this coach you already play for, would you not want to play for? 34.6% of those players that took that poll in 2019, they all said Tom Thibodeau, right? This came out in 2019. That's when this poll was done. This article came out in 2020, which means that nobody in the front office when it comes to Leon Rose or Scott Perry did any groundwork to see how do players feel about Tom Thibodeau before hiring Tom Thibodeau. What's your thoughts on that, J Boog? And with this whole situation with Tom Thibodeau and Cam Reddish, according to Ian Begley, benching Cam Reddish because he asked about playing time. What's your take on this situation?
Well, for the first part of it, Tom is not going to get in the way of me getting my money. He's not going to get in the way of them cutting my check. You know what I'm saying? Tom don't cut my check. Tom just coaches me on the court. So if I got, whatever them people are paying me to do, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna go ahead and, you know what I'm saying, and give my all to that organization because I owe it to them. Now we all know Tom can make some mistakes. Tom can also run you in the ground and do that right there. But Tom is not gonna, stop me from making me my money. You know what I'm saying? That's just, I'm gonna put that out there. Too many people, they want to use Tom for too many reasons, and they're doing this and doing that. You also got to remember when Tom came here, he went straight to Coach of the Year. He took us to the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? You got to give him some type of props. Only thing about it, he doesn't fit in today's time, and we all know that right now. You know what I'm saying? But until the office make a decision, you know what I'm saying, to move on from that man, we got to still deal with Tom. When he make his errors, we just critique him. You know what I'm saying? But we know, Tom is not the greatest coach it is right now, but some things he do on the court, they can help you in some situations. I know that right there might not, make too many people happy, but I never let nobody else get in the way of me getting my money and me feeding my family. No matter what, you have to adjust. You have to adjust yourself. And if you can't adjust yourself, then that means you can't get better. You know what I'm saying? Even if you don't like this person, I still got to go to work. You know what I'm saying? What was the second question now?
The second question, with the situation that's going on between Tom Thibodeau and Cam Reddish now. Ian Begley came out with a report that, according to reports that Ian Begley put out, apparently Cam Reddish went to one of the assistant coaches and asked one of the assistant coaches about his playing time. Tom Thibodeau found out about that, and since then, Cam Reddish hasn't seen the floor. Reported by Ian Begley. What's your take when it comes to that situation between Cam Reddish and Tom Thibs?
Well, before I answer that, that's on the organization. First of all, you should have got rid of this guy already. You know what I'm saying? Before all these breaking news start coming out, now those are the type things that can hinder things. You know what I'm saying? Make you look bad. Those are the type things you want to keep buried and keep out of the way. You know what I'm saying? Now, me personally, if I was Cam, I wouldn't have went to assistant coach. You know what I'm saying? I gotta go straight to the top. You know what I'm saying? Y'all understand, y'all came in this season. I'm looking, you know what I'm saying, to reach certain goals. I'm playing good. I don't understand why I'm not playing on the court. I'm doing any and everything the man is asking me on the court, on the court. And the things that I don't do, I know I am in position where he can correct some of the things and tell me what I'm doing wrong. But for me to be on this bench and knowing I'm 6'8", I'm athletic and I can shoot, I can play D, I'm a 3 and D, I can do almost anything on the court, for you not to use me, you know what I'm saying? That just has something to do with the coach himself, you know what I'm saying? So what is it that can be done? But, whoever he talked to, they went and talked around and hollered at Tom about it, you know what I'm saying? And Tom taking things into his own hand. But if the office is feeling like, yo, we going to go along with Tom, well, Tom is saying we going to back him up, even though we gave away the extra draft picks, you know what I'm saying? And to go get this guy, you know what I'm saying? Then you need to go ahead and get Cam up out of here and start letting them bump heads, because it's only going to look bad and worse on the organization that this guy is still here, doing what we're doing. And God forbid is if he's here after the trade deadline, you know what I'm saying? God forbid if we can't trade him to go somewhere and then we have to just release him and cut him or something like that. What would that look like, you know what I'm saying? So, Leon, you need to take care of the situation, nip it in the bud. We got too many things going on right now, you know what I'm saying, that allow this right here to get in our way. The team playing good, we in a great position, you know what I'm saying? We don't need nothing else to slow it down. And then you got to wonder, what the players is feeling like. I know the players ain't feeling it too, and they on both sides and both sides of it, and that doesn't look good for the players. Some on Cam's side, and they're going against the organization. Then some of the guys, they on the organization side, but they feel like they're leaving their teammate out, you know what I'm saying? It's just not a good scenario, you know what I'm saying? But Leon, you need to take care of it. Get the guy up out of here. Do what you got to do. I don't care if you got to trade the dude to Philly. Go get me Matisse Thybulle. Do something with the guy. Something can be done, you know what I'm saying, with this guy, you know what I mean? But you got to eliminate the situation that's going on and don't let it get out no further, because it can only get uglier.
Yeah, see, definitely.
Here's one thing, like as a Knicks fan, as someone who's trying to do this 3 days a week, to just talk about what's going on. The biggest discouragement for me. Yeah.
This lady, all right?
The biggest discouragement for me is how time and time again we put ourselves in positions to be the laughingstock of the NBA. Like, how many times have we been in the news for things that are ridiculous? Like, okay, Therese Halliburton, he's a fake all-star. Guess what? He's an all-star. You know who is his icon on Twitter? His new profile picture is Wally Zerbiak.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, that's his new Twitter picture. And everybody from the NBA.
Petty.
Oh my God.
Petty.
Rightfully so.
I would have done the same thing though. I would have done the same thing.
Rightfully so.
In New York, they're a laughing stock there. We decided DeMar DeRozan was too much money. We're going to go with Evan Fournier. DeMar DeRozan becomes most improved that season. Evan Fournier is now on our bench, and we've benched him so long that we can't move the contract.
DeMar DeRozan leads the NBA in clutch field goal percentage, leads the entire NBA.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Phil.
Exactly. So
money. That
we're
guy's
the
money.
stock there. Our defense has been in post-game interviews for players time and time again about how we play a college and high school style defense, and that they haven't seen that since college and high school, and that's how they were able to execute so many three-pointers. It's like, how much time do we have to spend being the laughing stock before Dolan realizes that this is an issue? Like, how many times do we have to be in the news where Kendrick Perkins, Stephen A. Smith, who's actually a Knicks fan, are all roasting the decisions that we make as the New York Knicks? You know, and so we're at the trade deadline now. We have Cam Reddish, we got Fournier, we got Derrick Rose. We're saying we want to do the best for Derrick Rose, but the best for Derrick Rose would have been to let him go earlier in the season and actually have a push at a good team for, the end of his career. We didn't do that. Now we're not going to get much from it. And so we don't want to let go unless it's right for both of us. Well, it's not going to be right for us. We just need to call our losses and let it go. Cam Reddish, we want something for it, but the whole reason we can't get something for him is because how we handled him and how we handled his time and play as a young player. And so same with Fournier. So we have all this stuff, and we're here and we're going, oh, we want this, we want that. But if you look, teams aren't really even paying that much attention to us. They're just not. Like, there's a lot of things that we'll see on Knicks Twitter where we're like, oh, we should trade for Miles Turner. Guess what? Miles Turner just re-signed. Stop talking about Miles Turner. Hey, we should get Jordan Clarkson. Guess what? An organization that actually knows what it's like to try to build around a player, the Portland Trailblazers, are now pursuing him, and they're the front runners to get him. So when is it going to be enough is enough? Where we actually put the fact that I think I heard, I don't remember where I heard it the other day, but someone in one of the actual broadcasts of a game talked about how Madison Square Garden is no longer the Mecca. They are taking away Mecca status of the NBA because we've been a joke for so long.
Phil, did you hear the Heat fans celebrating last night? I mean, it was a joke. Right, you guys heard that?
Yeah.
They were loud as hell in our arena.
Yeah.
That's the problem with MSG. It's a bunch of casuals. It's a bunch of tourists. The diehards aren't going there. That's how they're not. The MSG isn't getting their money from people like us. They're getting money from tourists and visitors from the visitors fan base. It's a joke, man. It's MSG's. There's no home court advantage there whatsoever.
It's that random family from Finland or Sweden that's walking 30. Oh, yeah, father, basketball, father. Yeah, and they go to Madison Square Garden because they're walking by it. That's why if the Knicks were to ever, they can never move from that location because the only reason they're able to do that is because they're on 34th Street. Everyone is walking past 34th Street, right? And we know if you guys don't go, I used to go to a lot of Yankee games during the time when the Yankees weren't that good back in 20. It was a couple of seasons in a row that they make the playoffs. And I learned from the ticket from the guys at the ticket booth that they're supposed to at Yankee Stadium sell out every ticket. They're supposed to sell out at every ticket. So if there's a certain time, say the game starts at 7:30, right? If it's 6:50 and they haven't sold out tickets, they're supposed to cut the prices for those tickets 50%, 75%. I got tickets on the first level right behind first base. 2 tickets that were face value of $300 a pop. I got them both for $150. Right? So they're supposed to sell tickets out at a certain time. It's the same thing for Madison Square Garden. If the game starts at 7 o'clock and tickets aren't sold out, by the time it's 10 minutes before the game, they start cutting prices on tickets before the game. And when it comes to D Rose, and Obviously, we want to get into trade talks. That's why we have Eddie here because he's the trade guru on Twitter. But when it comes to D Rose, someone close to the situation, I can't name their name, but someone close to the situation when it comes to D Rose and Taj Gibson told me that when Taj left, and when Taj was traded to the Washington Wizards, D Rose went to the front office and said, I want to go to Washington. Because D Rose wants to be next to Taj Gibson because Taj Gibson is his buffer from everyone else. Right? D Rose is a very quiet person. Taj Gibson is that person that stands in front of everyone else and is that buffer between D Rose and the media, between D Rose and the coaching staff. Not having Taj Gibson on this team, it doesn't hurt us on the court when it comes to our team. It hurts D Rose and his mental status. That's who it hurts. And now D Rose is not playing. It's not like he's injured. It's not like he has a bad hamstring like last year. He's not injured. He doesn't have bad ankles. Why isn't D Rose playing? So we should have solved this situation when he first came to the front office and told him, I want to be traded with Taj Gibson. We've done this to ourselves. These are all self-inflicted wounds, right? You hear me say all the time when I bring up Obi Toppin. A lot of fans are mad that Obi Toppin, he's just stuck in the corner trying to shoot a three whenever he's open for a three. Why isn't he cutting? That is the front office. That's roster construction. It's not Obi Toppin fault that when you look at our bench unit, Obi Toppin is the best. Besides Emmanuel Quickly, he's the best three-point shooter we have coming off the bench. So what does a coach go to do? Eddie, if you're the coach of the team and you got Obi Toppin as
Oh, snap.
Yeah, I think he just cut out.
Hector cut out.
Yo, he went to the game. He got them $150 tickets.
Yeah. MSG heard about it.
But to
Hector is officially broke. Go ahead, Phil. Pick it up.
What he was like asking you, I'm assuming, is when it comes to like this whole D Rose status, you know, like when are we going to finally like do damage control before the roof caves in? You know, like every single time we're finally ready to do something, it's after a point that everyone has lost interest. Anyone would even consider working with us. And we're just like, oh, it no longer benefits us. Who wants to give me their house for it? You know, like we expect people to go, oh, the Knicks see this as trash. We should see this as gold. Like, when is that like stupid merry-go-round going to stop?
I mean, you know, with regards to Derrick Rose is a problem. You know, he's not playing, which I disagree with. I think he should be playing over Deuce. That's just me. I think the Knicks need offense off the bench. I really do. But again, Derrick Rose is another guy that's banished in the Thibs system. But at the end of the day, when it comes to Derrick Rose, he makes $14 million. And $14 million isn't a drop in a bucket because if you're going to trade, you know, Derrick Rose, you then got to match up the salary and take $14 million or close to $14 million in return. So, you know, at the end of the day, I hope the Knicks can get something back for Derrick Rose. He is an expiring contract. That's good. I wouldn't take on any extra money past this season if I was running the team. That's just me. But, you know, we'll see what happens with Derrick Rose. I hope that they could get something decent, but I'm not banking on it. I foresee Derrick Rose probably getting cut and then going to a team of his choice, unless he's involved in a big deal. But as we know, the trade deadline market right now, nobody's making any moves because the prices of players are so high. The prices have skyrocketed ever since the offseason and the Gobert trade and the Donovan Mitchell trade. Nothing has really taken to, you know, there's no action right now. There's nothing.
Yeah. Only thing I wanted to say about the trade, and I had no idea what just happened just now. The Matrix is coming for us. But when it comes to OG Anunoby, right? And the whole conversation about OG.
Yo.
MSG's putting a crack down, man. He said 50%.
I see we got
when it comes to OG Anunoby, we'll transition a little bit into OG talk so that when Hector comes back, it's in that. A lot of people are conflicted because they're like, hey, we didn't give up the ship for Donovan Mitchell. Now we're thinking of giving up all these picks and probably players for OG. And I think OG's a great player defensively, but doesn't bring too much to the table offensively, which could be a benefit for us because we don't really have a roster spot for someone who is going to take a lot of shots with our mid three and Grimes. Like, there's barely enough shots for Grimes to get off in a game in the starting lineup. But how do you personally feel about OG? Like, me, defensively, it makes sense. But I also don't, like, rumors are that he doesn't want to be where he's at because he doesn't want to be the fourth option. Well, if he comes to New York, he is that fourth option.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to the actual style of player that he is, like, I don't know if you guys saw it, but I like watching games all around the league. Watching Donovan Mitchell throw down Brooks, Dylan from the Grizzlies the other day and, like, hold his own and, like, scrap with him. I was like, man, this dude has that old school 90s New York DNA. Like, we missed out on not just his style of skill, but, like, what he represents. OG's not really that, you know? So, like, is he even a good fit if we were to get him?
For me personally, again, it's all about the cost. You know, if he's going to cost 2 unprotected picks, you know, plus a couple of young players, to me, OG's not worth it. You know, you look at Donovan Mitchell. He went for 3 picks and a bunch of young players. The Knicks have to be smart. OG Anunoby's not a superstar. He's a very good player. He's a guy that, like, a team like Cleveland could use. He's the final piece. The Knicks still need 2-3 pieces. They need, you know, to build a team. OG's not going to come here and be the savior. The Knicks need more than OG Anunoby. That's just coming from me. That's just my perspective on that.
Yeah. And I'll toss it to Jay Boogie. And Sunil, welcome to the panel, man. Appreciate you jumping up here with us, man.
First time, what it do, baby?
Yeah, I just thought I'd show you the face behind the comments.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate that. Sunil, you got to come when we do the Yankees one so we can have some Yankee convo before spring training.
Well, yeah, and I could also give you my takes on YouTube TV losing MLB Network.
Oh, God,
don't get me started. Just like
we're gonna save that for Get Yank because that's something Jig and myself we're gonna talk about that on Get Yank. Trust me.
Google's about to get a big Get Yanked.
100%.
But going back to the topic there, Phil, that's what concerns me is he's publicly made it clear he does not want to be outside that top 3 option on a team. So if we go and make this trade, it's so on brand for what we do. Let's put ourselves in a situation again with somebody that possibly could be pissed off right off the gate. I'm sorry. If we're going to make any moves, you need to bring somebody in here that wants to be, that knows they're going to be a role piece, that knows they're going to help figure out what is our first unit and our second unit. Like, there needs to be transparency. Like, yo, we don't really know who our starting 5 is. Yo, we don't really know who all works well together yet. We're finding out as the season goes, but it looks like we're getting it together. Like, that should be your pitch, right? Like, hey, have you seen our games? Like, we're winning. Our fan base is pissed, but we got an all-star in Julius Randle. We got a point guard that was snubbed from the all-star game who's holding it down. He is Brunson. And we've got all these pieces. If you're talking to people that are saying, I want to be your 1, 2, or 3, please drop that conversation. We don't need that. Drop that.
Yep.
Yo, Jigga, let's put one thing into perspective. Let's compare the Eastern and the Western conferences together. And I'm speaking from the perspective of where the Knicks could stand with their record if they were an NBA Western Conference team. They would be right there with the likes of the Dallas Mavs, who are also in an equally struggling boat, just like the Knicks. People are equally pissed about Christian Wood potentially not being re-upped by Mark Cuban.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah.
When it comes to, and this is the only thing I wanted to say about OG Anunoby before the Knicks kept kicking me off the internet. One thing about OG Anunoby.
Oh my God.
I just kidding.
Yo, bro. 3 first-round picks is too much for OG Anunoby. Jiggaman, as somebody who's an avid football fan like yourself, 3 first-round picks is what you pay for a top quarterback in the NFL. Not what you pay for OG Anunoby in the NBA. And OG Anunoby, he's a phenomenal player, right? He's the leader in the NBA when it comes to steals per game. Most likely will be all defense first team. I get that. 17 points a game. Will he make our team better? If we had him in the starting lineup, absolutely, because it would have us move Quentin Grimes to the bench unit, which would be an upgrade over Deuce McBride coming off of the bench. From that point of view, yes, it would upgrade our team. But 3 first-round picks unprotected from the Knicks, I just think it's just too much. We got all these other picks that are protected first-round picks. Use 5 of them if you want to use 5 of them. Just don't use 3 unprotected Knicks first-round picks, right? Because when you look at the unprotected picks that are around the league right now, the Lakers, if they don't turn it around, right, they're going to be giving up some top lottery picks in the future if they don't turn it around. If the Brooklyn Nets after this season, if they don't re-up Kyrie Irving, if they don't improve going forward throughout the years, they may have some picks that may turn out to lottery picks. It's just about making sure that you trade these picks away, but you're still a competitive team that's not going to give up lottery picks.
Jay Boog, are you on the let's trade for OG? Like where are you at with this whole topic?
Well, I'll be real quick. My phone get ready to die out, man. I'll be real quick. When it comes to the NBA, it's 2 forms of trades. One is a Knick trade, and then there's a league trade. You know what I'm saying? They 2 separate trades off top. You know what I'm saying? The thing about OG can bring a whole lot to the table. He can give us exactly what we want. He can play the 2, he can play the 3, he can play the 4. He's not a bad person. He's a good locker room guy. He has a good attitude. You know what I'm saying? And y'all, one thing we know for sure, it can move RJ back to his natural position. It can move Grimes to the bench. That can strengthen the bench up. You know what I'm saying? But it's 4 other things that just kills me even worse. And the names is Siakam, Van Fleet, Gary Trent, and Barnes. He's the 5th best player on that team. So I'm not getting ready to overpay and give you all the I'm getting the number 1 guy from your team. I'm not getting ready to do that, you know what I'm saying? But we have shown that when it comes to us not going to get a major all-star, it shows that we can miss and still be a factor into this league. I know I'm one of the ones that would have wanted Donovan, you know what I'm saying? But we didn't get Donovan, but we still stayed afloat inside the league. We were 3 games above 500. We could have had a 1 in front of that 3 and be 13 games up under 500, and everybody had been like, see, I told you they should have went and got Donovan. But you know what I'm saying? At least 80% of the people can still say, well, without Donovan, we're still playing. But this guy can help us, but I'm not going to pay a whole lot for this guy right here. Not at all. I can stay low. I can go, offer something to somebody like, we go holler at Dorian Finney-Smith. I don't mention Matisse's on Tybalt over here in Philly. You know what I'm saying? There's some guys out there, the other guy that's coming off for the Orlando Magic. I can't think of his name. A little light-skinned guy. He plays great D, you know what I'm saying? It's some guys that we can go get the bolster and stripping this team. But I'm not getting ready to give away draft picks and everything. I'm getting ready to say them in the cut because Julius is an all-star. And you just say he probably on that phone talk and he's calling his man and your DB, what's up, man? What's up? I know things ain't looking too good over there. And Phoenix Suns ain't looking like his sun. He's looking like the Phoenix Moon. You need to tell him you want him out of there. You know what I'm saying? Get Devin Booker. I need to say them things for that guy. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Then we talk about something. But y'all guys have a great weekend, man. My phone get ready to go dead. I need to go inside this tax place and talk to these people, man. They try to get money out of me, man. I ain't got it. You know what I'm saying?
Story of my life.
The Knicks got it. They got all my merchant money in there. Call them. You need some money from me for taxes. Call the podcasters.
Yeah, right.
Have a good one, bro. Appreciate you.
For me, a player that I would want to trade for, and I throw it right over the field. I just want to say this real quick. From the Denver Nuggets, Shaun Highland.
Bones Highland.
I love Bones Highland. I love offensively, he's a bucket getter, probably better than Emmanuel Quickly when it comes to scoring. And that's what we need off this bench. I'm not sure if we're able to get him because Denver is talking to Minnesota because Denver's they need a backup center to back up Jokic when he's not on the court. So there may be something working out with Minnesota, but I love Bones Highland. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah. So first with the OG thing, listen, like he would be a good defensive player. Like he would be. Like that would be great. And that would help our deficiencies on the defensive end. But we're not going to make that kind of trade because he has proven that he is not a number 1 option. So we would go back to being the laughing stock if we gave up just as much for a number 5 option as we did a number 1 option in Donovan Mitchell. Like straight up. And Donovan Mitchell is from New York. That would have been an incredible homecoming story. OG Anunoby's just the guy that wants out of mediocrity. Like, why is he going to come to another place of mediocrity right now? doesn't make sense to me. When it comes to Bones, Bones is incredible. Like, he would be a great player. However, he wants a bigger role. He's not happy not getting a big, role there. And if he was to come here, like, we do not like him and Grimes. I mean, him and Quick are too similar of players. Like, they have very, very similar styles. So it would be just like getting a carbon copy of Quick, which I don't think having both of them on our roster really makes us better unless we moved quickly to a starting role, which we don't really have a spot for him in the starting role. Like, unless Grimes went to the bench and Bones was willing to come off the bench in the second unit with Grimes. Like, there would have to be a lot of, like, because them two playing at the same time really isn't anything pretty, in my opinion, like, because it's the same exact style of play. It limits us. We need some diversity, like, off of our bench. So I don't think we would get him. I think there's other teams. I think Denver, really, if they're going to give him up, they want something that's going to set them into that next level to get back to where they were last year. They don't want to be falling down. They want to be moving up. They want to compete now with Jokic and now with Gordon and now with, the players that they have. I don't really see us having a piece that makes them go, yeah. I don't really see them going, yeah. I don't know about that.
No, I'm not joking, because they're trying to trade for Nazir Reed. They need a back. That's what they're trying to. That's all they're trying to trade for.
They need a backup. They need a backup big man.
Yeah, they need a backup big man, and that's all they're looking for.
We need a backup big man.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. So finish your thoughts. I got something for you.
Yeah,
finish your thoughts first. Yeah. No, you can finish first if you have something else.
All I was going to add is this. I agree with what Phil's saying. They may be carbon copies of each other, but I'm thinking about how Tyrese Maxey and Emmanuel Quickly looked together when they was with Kentucky, right? And I think that's a situation we could get with Bones and we could get with IQ, right? If we have Bones being the number one scorer and IQ just being a facilitator that feed off of Bones. When D Rose was here his first year, IQ, when he was a rookie coming off of the bench, his best moments when he was feeding off of D Rose, when D Rose was the number one scorer off the bench and IQ was feeding off him. I'm just saying, just a possibility. If we could just flip our favorite backup center when it comes to Hartenstein, and we could flip him for a player like Bones, why not entertain it? But I get what you're saying, because automatically we will have to look for a backup center because Mitchell Robinson is still injured. And I'm not sure if the Knicks front office or if Tom Thibodeau would trust Jericho Sims and a backup center from the G League going forward until Mitchell Robinson gets back. So I totally get what you're saying. Phil. And then throw it over to Eddie, and I want to get Sunil's take. Go ahead, Eddie.
I mean, listen, when you talk about Bones Highland, you're talking about a guy that brings instant offense. He's a shot creator. He can knock down the three. To me, I think he would be a great addition to the team. It comes down to salary. It makes $2 million. You'd have to give up a guy like Jericho Sims in return, something along those lines, unless it's, a bigger deal. And then that's a whole different story, but if the Knicks, the Knicks could really use a guy like Bones Highland. He's a talented player. To me, the roster lacks talent. At least the guys that play, they're not the most, talented people. We need the offense. If we can make a deal for, Bones, I'd love it. I'd actually be all for it. But, then we'd have to go look at the free agent pool, probably for a backup center or, the trade market to get a backup center on the cheap. Because if you're going to give up Jericho Sims, you got to get another guy in return. I like the idea of Bones Highland. I really do.
Yeah. Well, Sunil, what's your thoughts on it? Because you said you had something to add on to it, my guy.
Yeah. So basically, you're talking about a backup big man, right? So, and I also mentioned earlier, you heard that Cuban is having, his fallout with Christian Wood, who they traded for from Houston before the start of this season. It was during the offseason, right after the playoffs last year. Now, if a deal doesn't get negotiated between the two, you could see him basically be on the trading block too, because Cuban would want to get some value back for that. Talk through a trade scenario you see that could be possible for that.
With Christian Woods, with the Knicks, I don't think it will be a match because Christian Wood wants to be a starter, right? And Tom Thibodeau, he relies on players, if they're going to be a starter, to be defensive minded. If we got big three when it comes to Jalen, Julius, And when it comes to RJ that don't play defense, we need other two in the lineup that do play defense. Where I can see Christian Woods eventually winding up is with the Lakers, is with LA. The Lakers, they need to do whatever they can to improve this roster for LeBron James as he ages and he gets up there. We all know LeBron James has been playing since the Vietnam War. So LeBron James, he needs to add some extra pieces around him to have him go for a stretch run. So Christian Woods would be the best. He'll be the best place for him to land would be with the Lakers. It will automatically, he'll be a starter, right? He'll be right next to Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Rui Hachimura. He'll be able to thrive not being the number one target on the defensive side of things. Having Anthony Davis spread the floor will open things up for Christian Woods to operate on the low block one-on-one and vice versa. Christian Woods can knock down the three-point shot, so it would give AD the opportunity to open up down low so he can operate. So I think that would be the perfect place for him to land, would be with the Lakers.
I think the Clippers, too, could be a good team for him.
Yeah, they definitely need a center.
And don't get me started about Russell can't cook and everything, regardless of whether it's the Lakers or Denver Broncos. Neither Russell can cook.
listen, the Donatello with the Lakers, he's good. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, so the thing with Christian Wood is statistically he's great on offense. Like great on offense. So you need to find a team for him that all he has to do is be an offensive player because he's got defenders around him. But with us and with our already point-driven offense with our main three, we don't need someone that's putting up 20 points. Like we need a center who's going to average like 10 to 12, and be great defensively. He is not great defensively. And one thing that has helped our offense is our offensive rebounding. He only averages like 8 rebounds a game as a center. Julius Randle is averaging way more than that as our forward, so we need someone who that when our offense is stagnant can get those offensive and defensive rebounds. And Christian Wood's not going to be that. He needs a team that has solid defenders that all they could do is throw him the bucket, throw him the pass in the paint. He can back it up or he can fade it away, do what he does well, but that's just not us. Like we definitely need, if we are going to trade for someone who's a center, it needs to be someone who can play both sides of the ball or is as good defensively or close to Mitchell Robinson, if we're trying to get somebody to replace, because if perfect scenario is if we did a trade like Bones Highland and we made it a multi-team trade and we got a good backup center defensively, if they played well and we end up needing to move Mitch eventually to get more picks back or get another player to like fit our rotation better, we can use that. But we need somebody that can at least step in. At least Hartenstein's played well these last few games that we haven't been in a complete deficit of where Mitchell Robinson was at defensively. So especially if we trade Hartenstein, we're going, hey, we have no defense in the paint. Come on in. That's already a struggle for us.
Hartenstein stepped it up too. You got to. I hate to give him credit, but I got to give him credit. These last few games, he stepped up this game back when he's doing the tip outs with the rebound. When he can't grab the rebound, he's pushing that out and giving us another chance to get the rebound. I've been happy with him lately, so I got to give credit to Hartenstein on that.
Yeah. What it was, Eddie, is that he saw the episode with you and Brett Siegel, and he was like, you know what, I gotta. Eddie's counting on me to turn it up. I gotta turn it up for Eddie.
And he, you know what, he even took accountability too, which I liked. He said, "I suck" to the fans, so I got to give him props owning his own stuff. So I give credit to him. I wasn't a big fan of his game, but listen, you step it up and you play better. I'll give you your due, but I'll give you a due for now.
For now.
Here's the thing. If he played like that all season, we all would have been purchasing Hartenstein jerseys.
Oh yeah,
that's a fact.
Like straight up.
That's a fact.
Straight up. And
trade him for 2 second rounders. Something crazy like that too. Yeah, let's get 2 unprotecteds for him. Come on.
But since he took responsibility, he has not had a minimal effort game since then.
No.
And so I'm going to be like, all right, if this is what we can actually get from this guy, maybe we don't trade, but I want to see it. Like, give me 10, 14 games of that kind of effort, and now we can talk. Now we can talk. It sucks that it is coming during the trade, like, you know,
Yeah.
point where we kind of have to make our decisions, where we can't really even think about letting him go for nothing without Mitch being here. But maybe he did it just in time to, you know, save us from trading someone that could be a good fit for us. We'll see. Only time's going to tell.
Listen, if you're going to trade for a backup center or something like that, it's got to just be somebody on the cheap. You know, guys like, you know, Mo Bamba, you know, Plumlee, those guys, like these type of centers, you have to go for those guys. That's at the end of the day, you can't bring in a starter or anything like that. You know, you get somebody on the cheap. That's it. But Hartenstein showed he's worth something lately, so we'll see.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
this whole
100% agree.
This
Go
whole
ahead, Chanel.
This whole Hardenstein discussion is a vague reminder of last year's trade deadline during the MLB season when Yankee fans were, you know, cribbing over one strikeout king, Joey Gallo.
That was 2 years ago.
I get no. That was this last offseason when we.
Then when they get rid of him,
deadline when we got rid of him. I agree with you, Chanel, but
That's when all the My Cousin Vinny memes started coming out when he said, but Gallo's dead.
Yeah, but I agree with you. But when it comes to Isaiah Hartenstein, at least now he's showing us some type of value. When it comes to Joey Gallo, he ain't show us no type of value. The only thing we got Clayton Beater back, which was a good pickup. But when it comes to when it comes to Isaiah Hartenstein, he gives you maximum effort, and that's all that we want. As New Yorkers, as people that have to wake up early, have to walk to the train station, which is 3 to 4, 5, 6 blocks away from our house, have to walk up the stairs, sometimes downstairs and up the stairs in order to get to work. We appreciate when players give us maximum effort, right? And that's what Isaiah Hartenstein is doing right now. Go ahead, Sano.
We appreciate the grind.
I could give you maximum effort walking down those streets, basically doing my Al Pacino. I'm walking here.
Yeah. If I can, I just want to put something in the chat real quick. I'm putting it in the chat again, just so you guys know that the Morning Brew, the Yankees Morning Brew, and the Knicks Morning Brew, we're moving over to a new channel. It's called the Morning Brew Sports. The link for that channel is in the description right now. We're loading some of our old content onto that channel right now. What it means is that KOD Media will become the full sponsor of the Knicks Morning Brew and the Yankees Morning Brew. It will give us a lot of free space to operate and do a lot more things that we want to do, adding new shows to the channel. That way we're not stuck with just a time constraint. We can only go from 11 o'clock to 12 to 1, whatever. We can have free range to do whatever we want. It's an upgrade for us, myself, with Phil, Jigga. It's something that we are fully supported by from KOD. They're giving us all the effort they can, and we want to be able to bring all you guys over there as well. So the link for the link for that channel is in the chat right now. It's also in the description for this video as well, so you guys can fully support us. But it's been another awesome episode of the Knicks Morning Brew. You know, Phil, take us out real quick as I shout out the chat. Kent, salute to you. Pudgy Nice is in the building. My man Pudge Nice showed up late, but he was still here. Kung Fu D, Jonathan, JJ, Phil, take us out, baby.
Yeah, you know, so we appreciate all you guys. We appreciate you, Eddie. We appreciate you, Sunil, Jay Boogie, for coming through. You know, it was a good win yesterday. You know, I think tomorrow is going to be something to really look forward to. You know, we're going and we're playing the Clippers. This is Hartenstein's old home. You know, this is the team that wants Hartenstein. Like, is he going to show them, hey, you made a mistake in trading me? Like, this is what I can do. I want to see him kind of step up tomorrow. I want to see what I said all the time. I want to see the ball movement that we saw yesterday. I want that not to be something that we have to go on Twitter Spaces and talk about nonstop because it was that much of an anomaly. I want it to become the normal that we see that kind of ball movement. So that's what I'm hoping for. Looking forward to watching the game, chatting with you guys on Monday about it. And, you know, if we're going to make a trade before this deadline, I want New York to surprise us. You know, find us something good. Find us
it's time to show up, show out.
Yeah, find us something good. Show us you care. You know, try to find a way to get Bol off the Orlando Magic, steal him away, bring him to us. You know, like,
I'd sign up for that.
Yeah, give me that ball, you know, and you could take Cam Reddish and whoever else you want. Give me ball and maybe Jalen Suggs off the bench, you know, just something good. You know, do something good, New York. That's all I hope, but appreciate you guys so much. Please follow the channel. Please subscribe. like Hector said, we busted our butts, you know, like alongside the other Knights of DJ content creators to build up that channel. Leaving, you know, takes us away from the monetization and anything like that we built up. And now we're starting from scratch because we want it to be somewhere where you guys come and you get your content from the content creators that you're looking for, you know, and keep following KOD Media as they support us. We'll do exclusives through them. And we got a lot of things cooking. So please, you know, stay tuned, you know, retweet when you can, subscribe if you haven't, and just thank you guys so much. And until next time.
Deuces. And like my man Sunil just said, I'm walking here. Peace out.
Yeah. Peace out, guys.
What it do, Nick Nation? What it do? KOD Universe, stand up. And all you DJs, wake up and get your coffee.
I'ma slam on these goats like I'm Jon Starks. I'ma slam on these goats like I'm Jon Starks. I'ma slam